So, we already know that we can't really even do much science. We fully admit that. So there's a huge limitation no matter what model we end up on. What are we going to talk about tonight, Dave?
Now, I'm only guessing you because there are absolutely no clues, but is it that you think that the 24-hour Antarctic sun was fake?
We're going to be discussing the TFE by Will Duffy, which is he calls the final experiment, and how we think it may have been accomplished.
Well, it didn't really need to be accomplished, Dave, did it? Because it just sort of happens. It's a naturally occurring phenomena.
Basically, what you're saying is that you think that they faked the sun down there.
Absolutely.
Then why did you turn down a free trip, which would have allowed you to see it for yourself? Pussy?
Please subscribe.
Okay, now before we see Dave Weiss being a pussy and lying and then lying again and 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 again.
A few moments later.
And again, today's video is sponsored by Magic Spoon. Alright, listen up, champions. Have you ever felt like your snack game just wasn't tough enough? Like you've been sipping on weak, watered-down cereals that just don't deliver? Well, it's time to get serious. This is Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon! The only cereal that has 13 to 14 grams of protein, 0 sugar per serving, and a measly 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Everything you need to power up and crush your day. It's the kind of cereal that doesn't just sit in your bowl. It attacks your hunger, takes charge, and leaves no regret. Magic Spoon! Magic Spoon cereal isn't just cereal. It's fuel for your day. For the people who rise up and seize the day, who take no shortcuts and ask for no handouts. You know who you are. You need a snack that fights just as hard as you do. Magic Spoon! Let me tell you something. Magic Spoon has got the strength to back up its claims. And forget about that nasty sugar crash. You can stay in peak condition, no more feeling sluggish after breakfast. It's time to fuel your body with the real deal. The cereal that's not afraid to take on your hunger and say, I'll handle this. Magic Spoon! And hey, if you're on the move and need something quicker, Magic Spoon's got you covered with Magic Spoon Treat. And these babies pack 11 to 12 grams of protein, just 1 gram of sugar and 1 to 2 grams of net carbs. Crispy, crunchy, and airy. Magic Spoon! So whether you're powering through your workout or just need a quick snack on the go, Magic Spoon Treats are your perfect fuel. So grab them, go, and stay strong, because this is the snack that gets the job done. So what are you waiting for? Step up and grab your Magic Spoon cereal and treat and start fueling your beast mode self today. Magic Spoon! MagicSpoon.com/Creaky or click the link in the description. Use my code Creaky and get $5 off your first order. And don't wait around, because champions don't wait. And remember, Magic Spoon has 100% happiness guarantee. And if you don't love it, you'll get your money back. No questions, no regrets, and no holding back. Magic Spoon, the snack that's tough enough for champions. Get yours now.
And I ran it by a lot of other, prominent people in the community, and nobody shot it down yet.
Really, Dave? Then why am I struggling to find even 2 flat earthers who agree on why they witnessed the 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
A lot of people are like, wow, that's interesting. Taboo conspiracy is one. And
You mean my mate Kermit? But he's an idiot as well.
we had a long conversation. He was supposed to be part of this, but he's busy with 16 kids, I think.
16 kids? How the hell does he find time to be a flat earther?
But when we say fake the sun, we don't mean the sun simulator. We don't mean this, because this is crazy.
Doesn't seem to be stopping your mate Banjo from making videos claiming a sun simulator was used, or has he switched over to the old 360 LED screens as well?
When you think faking the sun, if you think the sun simulator, you're going to rule it out. Just like if you think flat Earth, someone that searches for flat Earth and sees this, you immediately go, oh, flat Earth is stupid and you stop looking.
Yeah, but that's because flat Earth is stupid, Dave, and so is believing that a sun simulator was used. So I can't wait to hear your thoughts on how it was accomplished.
I think that the sun simulator was leaked several years ago
Hey, why am I on the screen? I haven't done anything.
as a red herring for this exact operation. When I say operation, this is an operation equal to the moon landing.
Now, when Will Duffy devised the final experiment, I'm sure he did have high hopes for it, but I don't think even Will was expecting flat earthers to compare it to the moon landings. Now, I know why you're comparing it to the moon landings is because you lot think they are fake as well. But again, you have to, because you know full well that the people who were on the moon saw that the Earth was a globe.
You arrived on the moon. Was the people who lived there very friendly, or was they scared of you?
And when I say that is, it's a billion times easier than the moon landing, because the moon landing had millions or billions of people watching, television cameras, people all over the place. This had 3 people in a remote area, essentially controlled by NASA.
Dave, the idea of faking a 24-hour sun is, well, let's just say it defies basic physics. The Earth's rotation and the sun's position are pretty well established concepts. It's not exactly something you can easily fake on a global scale, especially with penguins as your co-stars. Idiot.
For a deception, and we're going to talk about how they possibly or probably or likely pulled that off.
Possibly, probably, likely. Not exactly the words you would use to describe something of which you are 100% certain, is it, Dave?
If you look at it from my point of view, this thing was designed for me to go.
Tell me you think you're very important without saying you think you're very important. Dave, the reason you were at the front of everyone's minds is because you kept saying things like this.
The 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't work on a flat Earth. On a flat Earth, you can't have a 24-hour sun, a midnight sun in Antarctica. I had the, I would say, the foresight to see that it was a false binary, it was a trap, and I didn't know what they were going to do.
No, you didn't, you lying piece of human garbage. You didn't want to go because you knew that you would have absolutely no clue how to explain away what you witnessed. A 24-hour Antarctic sun.
Jared and Austin were 99% sure they were going to cancel the trip or it was going to be cloudy.
And it turns out they were 100% wrong, weren't they?
Well, that didn't happen. And I knew it was a trap from the beginning.
And by trap, you mean something which would be impossible to explain using the current flat Earth model, or any flat Earth model for that matter.
You know, when we look at something like this, I mean, the moon landing, just this room of people, but this is just a small fraction of the people that are involved with the moon landing, but they pulled that off. We all know that that was faked.
Can't prove it was fake, though, can you? And lots of you have tried.
But Marty, you wanted to bring up some points about what we care about.
I can help you with that, Dave, because we all know exactly what you care about.
Yeah, so let's just go on the list right away. Okay, so are we proclaiming without question that they faked the 24-hour sun? As of right now, I'm leaning very strongly yes, and I think Dave is pretty much there too, but there are other possibilities.
I agree. Like, for example, the sun stays in the sky for 24 hours a day because it's the Antarctic summer.
Do we still have to take into consideration that there could be a rational, reasonable explanation for there is a 24-hour sun down there?
Don't be so silly. There'll be nothing rational about your explanation because you're both flat earthers.
So, we already know that we can't really even do much science. We fully admit that. So there's a huge limitation no matter what model we end up on.
Not if you use the correct model, there's not. Because the globe can predict everything that happened in Antarctica with 100% accuracy. And it always has been able to.
Even if Joe Handy's model is 100% accurate, it's still just a theory.
And that's all it'll ever be because the Earth isn't flat. Dave?
And I believe, now this is secondhand information, that when they got there, people that were leaving said it's been cloudy for months there, and then the sky parted.
Why are you even bringing that up, Dave? Because it sounds like what you're saying is a change in weather supports your position and not ours.
And I call it 9/11 blue, but now I'm going to call it Union Glacier blue. That's the new definition of a chroma key blue sky.
I can't even be asked to explain why that's such a stupid thing to say. Green screens, blue screens, make of that what you will. But don't you think, Dave, that the flat earthers that were there would have been screaming about that at the top of their lungs? Because then they would have been able to prove on the spot that it was all just a big fake.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we'll talk about. Basically, when you're in Antarctica, it's according to all the records, 80-90% of the time it's cloudy.
Now, I have no idea who this guy is, but is he trying to sound like a flat earth idiot to kind of fit in with Dave?
Special Officer Duffy reporting.
The graphic you showed on the screen contradicts what you said. Either that or you can't read properly. February is the peak summer in Antarctica, and at that time of year, around 90% of the skies are covered in cloud. Not that it's cloudy 90% of the time, you douche! And it says at the bottom of the screen, 50 to 60% of the time. So, they were lucky.
One of the things, when I turned it down, so they were surprised when I turned it down, and they really wanted prominent flat earthers down there so they could pull this off, because if they had like a no name there, it wouldn't have been as powerful of a move for them. And when Jaron and Austin were negotiating, I pointed out, I said, if they see the sun behind a hazy sky, they could fake that. I was calling they could fake the sun.
Yeah, sure, Dave. You called it. Any chance you'll explain to us how they fake the sun?
And Jaron's like, no, you can't. It was sunspots and everything. I said, well, if it's hazy. So he brought that up to Will. Will says, if it's hazy, it's a win for flat Earth.
Yeah, so here's Will Duffy.
It's just crazy how confident he was.
I know. Crazy. It's almost as if he knew that it was going to happen, because it happened last year and the year before that. And the year before that. We were all confident, Dave, which is why I said in a YouTube video that if the sun set, I would delete my channel. Didn't hear any flat earthers making promises like that, though, did we?
Exactly. So this guy, for months before they even go down, we already know that it's supposed to be 80-90% clouds most of the time, right?
No, not right. Look it up.
He's completely confident. He's spending, what, $500,000, maybe $1 million? I don't know how much.
But did you even bother to look at the Final Experiment website or the Final Experiment YouTube channel? Where are you plucking these figures from? Probably the same place you get your information about the shape of the Earth. It was $100,000, not $1 million. He's not Dr. Evil.
$1 million.
So here's Will Duffy, that is essentially the guy that came out of nowhere, has a bunch of money, is completely confident, plays the cool, calm, collected sort of figure the entire time, is on the Globy side. Everything that they needed was presented to them that day, a perfectly blue sky and a sun, and Will Duffy was confident the entire time.
Well, the blue sky, fine, call it luck if you want to, it makes little difference to me. But the sun being in the sky for 24 hours, they knew it was going to be, because it is every year. Like I keep saying, it's all very predictable. That's why every single person on the globe side of this stupid argument was so confident.
What about Duffy? If you've been to his Instagram account or his YouTube account, that sort of stuff, you can see there's nobody in the audience when he's preaching. We ask, has he performed any baptisms, any weddings? Has he performed any funerals? Is there any testimonials for any of the people that actually work at his, or congregations from his church?
Well, I know MC Tuna's actually been to Will's church. Why am I explaining this? How is this an argument that supports a flat Earth? Whether Will is or isn't actually a real pastor. What difference would it make either way? I've heard some really weak, pathetic arguments from flat earthers in my time, but this is right at the top of the tree.
Is there any of this information? Because allegedly there's several thousand people that go to that, or at least subscribe to his church online. Who are these people? There's got to be some people that we can speak to, right?
About what? It would make no difference if Will dressed up as a cat and called himself Mittens. It would still not change what the final experiment showed us all.
So that's a little crazy. And then the thing that I find amazing is, Will Duffy is a self-proclaimed a multimillionaire, and that's why he just cares about the flat earth thing, right? But if you check his FINRA, he was in the financial business on 11/9/2021.
You've got nothing, Dave, have you? Nothing useful to say. Nothing that could ever even come close to debunking what the final experiment showed us. What does any of this have to do with the shape of the Earth?
So back in, I think it's 2014, 15, 16, somewhere around there, where all the flat earthers were saying there's no footage of the 24-hour sun.
Sorry to interrupt, Dave, while you're in, mid-fleur flow, but I think you just made a little mistake. I couldn't help but notice that was Anthony Powell you were playing in the video just over your shoulder there. Well, I had a look at Anthony Powell's YouTube channel. YouTube, yeah? Familiar? Well, this is his YouTube channel, with his first Antarctic 24-hour time-lapse, which he uploaded 18 years ago. So what you're saying then is that there were no videos flat earthers agreed with, which were available to them, because can't be that other thing.
But Anthony Powell put out this video, and I debunked it, and it literally put egg on the guy's face. Well, Anthony Powell then goes quiet for a couple of years, right? This is a guy. He put out this video. It's destroyed, proven fake. Not because we say it's fake, it's because it was fake.
And when you say fake, you mean edited, Dave, right? Because it was edited. That's public knowledge. It's not a secret. But it does raise a question. Why don't you just use Dave McKeegan's time-lapse? Or, even better, why don't you use Dave McKeegan's real-time tracking of the 24-hour sun? It's on YouTube. Just search for it.
Then he quietly films the sun a half a dozen more times and puts it out quietly. And Will Duffy is the one that discovers it.
And then hands it to Witsit right before they leave, and then look who the guy works for. So it's like, just once again, very, very suspect. That's all we'll say.
Yeah.
So
hang on a second. What, you think that Anthony Powell works for Will Duffy? How? What was the logical thinking that got you to that conclusion?
And it seems like a lot of people are looking into Jared and Austin, and maybe they should be looking more into Will Duffy and Anthony Powell and these sorts of characters. So
absolutely.
Or maybe they should be concentrating on trying to prove that they are right and we are wrong. The only reason that people are looking into Whitsitt and Jaron is because they were the only two prominent flat earthers. And yes, I know there were another two, but like I said, not important enough to memorize their names. But at least Whitsitt and Jaron were brave enough to go and find out for themselves. Not like you, Dave. You big pussy.
Another thing that needs to be said, too, is that any scientific experiment, and this is your basic protocols of science, right? Now, even though that really wasn't an experiment, it wasn't final, it really wasn't an experiment, it was just an observation. But even if we were to grant and say that was an experiment, even in your normal protocols of science, do you know how many experiments you have to do at the very least to consider it a legit scientific experiment? At least three. At least three. So the notion that their premise is that we're going to do this one thing and it's somehow science goes directly against just your basic protocols of science.
Okay, let's just say then that the final experiment wasn't an experiment at all and it was purely just an observation. Still didn't help you prove that the Earth is flat, did it? Now, there's a hell of a lot more to this video. You may have seen it yourself. Sicko. And this video has only covered the first 11 minutes of it. Now, I will carry on with the video if you want me to, but there's only so much Dave Weiss even I can take in a day. So that I know you've made it this far into the video, drop the latest emoji that you've used in the comment section. And I know you made it all the way to the end, eh? Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you again on Monday. Oh, and don't forget, because I forgot last week. Well, I didn't forget. There was reasons why. It doesn't matter. But all this week's episodes will be edited together and uploaded onto Creaky Extra and published at 7:30 p.m. UK time on Sunday night. So I think that's about all my waffling for today now. Love you, bye.
I don't think so. No, no, no.
Right, I literally just read this one in the comment section. Have you heard about the Mexican magician? He said uno, dos, and then disappeared without a trace.